Okay, welcome everybody to Getting Started Stories. My name is Amanda Lehman. I am one of the founders of the Living Well movement. So that is an educational group. We talk a lot about natural health and wellness, removing toxins from our everyday products, switching things out. We call it ditch and switch. And essential oils. I am a personal trainer and fitness nutrition specialist. That's my job. That's my title. But I absolutely love Young Living as a company. I love their products, love essential oils. I've been with Young Living for a little over 6 years now. I started using oils because of my son, Colt. He's about to be 11. But when he was 4 months old, he started having really bad eczema flare-ups. I had never seen it before. I didn't know what it was. Looked like he had burns on his arms the first time that I noticed it. So if you're a new mom or if you're watching this later and you're having skin issues and they tell you have eczema, there's all different degrees of it. There's, it looks a little different for some people, but it can be pretty bad. Colt's was pretty bad. We dealt with it for a few years. Steroid creams. We used the triamcinolone cream. We had him on hydroxyzine for a while, which is, we have a few nurses on here. We have a nursing student on here. If you know anything about medications, hydroxyzine was originally an anti-anxiety med, and it's given in small doses to children for itching. Which is okay. A lot of medications are given for other conditions than what they were created for. They can, have different effects. But to me, as a mom, once things kind of stopped working for him, so to speak, I wasn't okay with just giving him a drug that didn't seem to be really helping him anymore. They switched him to daily Zyrtec. We did that for a while. He developed a cavity, which my kid's dentist, Dr. McQuaid, told us that was a direct result of the daily Zyrtec, which I didn't realize could give a cavity. It was on a flat surface of a baby tooth. You guys know how baby teeth are. They're spaced apart. They're really easy to floss and brush. We're pretty adamant with our oral care. So I was really surprised by that. I'm not a big sugar mom. And so the daily medications and the things that we were doing for him for his skin, I wasn't okay with it after a while when it all kind of stopped helping him. He couldn't sleep at night. He itched like crazy. Everything I put on his skin burned. And then as he got a little bit older, when he was a toddler, about 2.5, 3 years old, they didn't diagnose him with asthma at this point, but he absolutely was exhibiting asthmatic symptoms. We did allergy testing at 3 years old. And from there, we went to daily shot or weekly shots, allergy shots, and some other things. Obviously, these are maintenance things. These are rescue things. We had a rescue inhaler. We have had him in an emergency room on 2 occasions. We've had an ambulance at our house before in our driveway. And so his asthma is pretty bad. I always felt like when I would give him a medication, obviously in an emergency situation, it's needed. Other than that, I felt like nothing was helping the situation. And I just had this really strong feeling personally that there were things that could actually help him and make the situation better. It could be better managed. We could have less flare-ups. We could have less episodes. They wouldn't be as severe. And I just knew that deep down. And so for those of you that haven't heard me tell this story before, I'm going to give you just a little bit of that. And then we're going to go to the next person because I've told this story. A lot of you have heard this story way too many times. But with Colt, we were doing all of these drugs, sometimes daily when we would do his breathing treatments. As you know, if you've given a child a breathing treatment, it's not a one and done thing. It's every 4 hours for days on end. And they've got the jitters, they've got a racing heart. And so one night when he was about 3.5 years old, middle of the night, he's crying. His skin it was a eczema issue, not the asthma this night. But we were up pretty much every night in the winter when the seasons changed or when the pollen was really high. So we definitely saw some pretty bad episodes with both the eczema and the asthma. And I got to a point with him where neither one of us were really getting a lot of sleep. So late one night, he's up, his skin is burning, he's broken out from head to toe with his eczema. And I had some very expensive lotion that I had just bought. Tried that. He screamed, it burned. So couldn't use that. And I literally rubbing him down with olive oil. I just used olive oil, just to something to cut down friction, and just rubbing his skin, totally delirious. And I prayed, I'm done. I told God, I'm done. I don't know what to do for my child, but I know that you've given me everything that I need for him, and I need it. I don't know where to look. I don't know who to ask. Help me. I'm stopping every drug. And disclaimer, I'm not telling you to stop medications. I'm not your doctor. I'm not giving you any medical advice. I'm saying for us in our house, between me and God, I said, I'm done with the drugs. And so the next day I told Tommy, look, I'm stopping everything. So we called the allergist, and I said, what do I need to do to stop his shots? And of course, you know, she wanted to talk me out of that. And she said, well, why are you stopping? And I said, well, we're going another route. We're not doing this anymore. It doesn't help him. We've been on them for over a year. I'm seeing zero improvement. It is torture to give him these shots every week, and I'm done. Not doing it anymore. He's going to be fine, and we're not doing this. And she said, well, you don't have to wean him off. You can just stop. No big deal. And once I, you know, told her my wishes, and that she saw that I wasn't going to be persuaded to stick with that, she kind of dropped it. And we have not been back to a medical doctor or an allergist in 6 years. So that is not to say that if we needed a doctor, we wouldn't go, because medicine has its place. A lot of you guys that are nurses, I talk to you all the time and ask you questions about all kinds of things. I also have a couple of nurse practitioner friends. I do see a naturopathic doctor regularly, and so we address things differently now. Now, if I break my leg or I have a gunshot wound, put me in an ambulance. Other than that, we're going to do everything we can do to give the body its best chance to do what God designed it to do. And so that was how I got into using oils. A friend of mine had messaged me, you know, because of course I post on Facebook in the middle of the night, like 2 or 3 in the morning, that I was just done. I don't know what to do. I'm sick of this. I've tried this, which is always a bad idea, because then you get everyone's opinions and suggestions, which is always bad on Facebook. But a girl that I went to school with actually called me the next morning, and she said, look, I know how you are. I think you should read this book. So she totally approached me in a different way. I had for about 3 years people say, you should try lavender. And I was like, whatever, lady. I don't want your lavender. It's not going to do anything. You're trying to sell me something. And so just so you guys know, that was my opinion of oils. Like, okay, this girl was just selling something last week. Now she all of a sudden knows all about essential oils. I don't know what these things are. There's no way this is going to help anything. And so that's how I had been asked to try essential oils before. And so for 3 years off and on, I totally ignored all of that. But this friend called me and said, I know how you are. You should read this book. So I'm not sure if that was a compliment or an insult, but I read the book, and I overnighted a starter kit, and I did it on Essential Rewards, which I'm going to tell you guys about in a little bit. And that was right over 6 years ago, about 6 years and 2 or 3 months ago. And we have not looked back or regretted once. So that's how I got into using oils. That was that was as fast as I can do it, y'all. That's it. Like, in my head, I'm like, oh, what about this? Let me say this. I'm not going to do that though, because there's a lot of ladies on here that have some really good stories that want to share. A lot of them have little kids and husbands and other things to do. So I'm going to turn it over to my friend Ashley, who is one of my nurse friends, and let her tell you guys her story.
Hey y'all, several people last week or whenever before heard my story. So my name is Ashley. I'm a registered nurse. I've been in the OR for almost 20 years. I stepped out in 2017 just for some family reasons. We have 3 boys. So like Amanda, we got into using oils for our kids. So I'm not against modern medicine by any means, but if I can do something naturally for my family, I will. So our oldest and our middle son had eczema. Sorry, my dog is driving me nuts. She follows me everywhere. Our oldest and middle son had eczema. Our oldest more so than our middle son. And we tried multiple over-the-counter things, wouldn't clear up. His skin is super sensitive. It's still super sensitive. Last night he broke out in some kind of crazy rash from head to toe. We don't know from what. So anyway, we started with the over-the-counter medicines. We weren't really seeing any changes. They also had lots of seasonal allergies. Same thing, we were on the Zyrtec. I did not know about that about the cavities, Amanda. I'll have to tell Dr. McQuaid, thank you for not telling me that, because I would have loved to have known that. So anyway, we're doing the Zyrtec, the Singulair, the Flonase, all that stuff, medicine for the eczema. And like Amanda was saying, it was just a little bit too much. So someone had approached me. It was either Amanda or Allison. We have tons of mutual friends because we grew up in the same area. Had approached me about the oils, and I was like, I'll just kind of wait. We'll see. So same thing still kept going on, same issues. I finally decided to try the oils, and it was wonderful. It helped the itching and the inflammation almost instantly. I was a little shocked, to be honest, just because I didn't think, that anything would help. So we kind of scaled back on his medicine, put it in the cabinet, left it there, and I was using something that someone had given me. And then I eventually bought a kit. I didn't roll an ER right away. So we started using just the few things out of the kit that we could on the boy's skin, which really was the frankincense and the lavender. And we were diffusing at night for allergies with lavender, lemon, and peppermint. And then I was also having some health issues at the time. I was not retaining all my vitamins and nutrients really well. I could sleep 10 to 12 hours and feel like I hadn't slept any at all. And my doctors were running tons of tests to try to figure out what was going on. It took about 5 to 6 months, and they decided that I had adrenal fatigue. So that's just like a realm of symptoms thrown into a bag when they can't really figure out what's going on. So I started working on my immune system a little bit better, because I was having chronic sinus infections just because my immune system was weak. My ear, nose, and throat doctor, who is very conservative, had me on all kinds of steroids, and taking steroids 24 hours a day for weeks is not good for your body. It makes you crazy. You eat like crazy. You don't really sleep well, which I needed the sleep. It was just a lot of different stuff. I was on Augmentin all the time for weeks. So that just wreaks havoc on your body. A lot of female problems happen with that as well. I was also doing an antibiotic nasal rinse. I don't know if anybody's ever done that before, but it's like your nose is on fire, and it hurts really, really, really bad. So anyway, I just started working on a lot of different things. Lemongrass became my new friend. Thieves became my new friend. And from there, it just kind of all snowballed, and now we use it for everything. So that's kind of my story. I could, like Amanda, go on and on and on and on and on, because you find a new thing every day. Every day I'm discovering something new that I didn't know before. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. So I've posted throughout the day today. If you go to the event page, you can see all of the things that come in the starter kit, all of the 12 oils that come in the starter kit. And in the caption, I just posted a little bit of how I personally use each one of those oils and a couple of high points on the oils. They all have multiple uses, multiple applications. So some oils can be used all three ways: aromatically, topically, and internally. Some of them you can't take internally. Some of them aren't the best for applying topically. But the labels of the bottles always tell you how you can use the oils. And if you have an essential oil reference book, you can look up the personal care section in the back, look up different issues and conditions, things that you can use the oils for, and how to use them. And so there's a lot of help. Thank you, Ashley. That's the book. There's a lot of help. There's a lot of resources. And then our private members group. So we have a private members group on Facebook called The Living Well. So we have the Living Well Movement, which is just an open public group for anyone, whether they're a member or not, if they're a member in another organization. And then our private members group is just going to be those in our Young Living organization, because we do tons of giveaways. We do a lot of private classes, online classes, in-person classes, and events. And so that group is a great resource as well. You can post questions in there. There's lots of testimonies, continuing education on all the oils, the things outside the starter kit, the supplements, the nutritional products, all the body care products, and the cleaning products. And so that's just a good resource to have as well. So when you're a member in our organization, you get that support community too. Okay, so Alyssa Murphy, my friend, a lot of these ladies on this class, and a lot of ladies and also guys in our group, I would not know if it weren't for Young Living. I would have never met Alyssa. She's way younger than I am, and actually an acquaintance of a friend of a friend, I think, enrolled Alyssa. So, which is pretty interesting. And she just happens to be in our group, and that's how we met. I went and helped her teach a class not too long ago and met her mom and some of her friends. And here she is. She's going to tell us a little bit about getting started with Young Living.
Hey guys. So I think I got started around 2.5 years ago. I mainly got started because I was pregnant and I just wanted better options for my kid. And I started with the starter kit, but I wasn't immediately on ER. It seemed like a lot of money in 1 month, and my husband wasn't completely on board, so it was kind of hard to like convince him it was worth it. And so we started with the starter kit, and then I slowly just added things. I'm probably going to say this wrong. Copiaba. I started with that one when he was little. When he was teething, I'm I'm a nursing student, so I'm learning a lot about medicine now. But back then, I didn't even really feel right about Tylenol every time his teething was unbearable, or Benadryl when he had sniffles, and I just didn't feel right about it. So I wanted to do something different. I would put the Copaiba in a roller bottle and roll it along his jawline. And within like seconds, he was calm and he was back to being happy. And it was just amazing to see the changes right in front of me. And then at night, I diffuse cedar wood for him like every night. And I can tell if I don't, he sleeps really good with it. And if I don't, he's in my room at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. I liked that with the Thieves cleaner, I could clean all of his toys and spray everything down and not have to worry about him putting it right back in his mouth. And I would get headaches from Lysol and Clorox and all of that stuff anyway. So it just felt better having a healthier option to turn to. And since I've been using them, my husband is more on board now than he was to start with. He'll even like fill up his diffuser at night. And in the winter, if he doesn't really get sick a lot, but he'll get a runny nose or a cough, and that's about as far as it goes. So we'll do sniffles and RC on his chest. And my son will get to where like he knows if I'm grabbing the bottle, he sees it coming, he pulls up his shirt so I can roll it on his chest. It's really cute. And then Alex will get to where he'll like apply it on his chest too, or he'll go ask me to get it. So like he knows that it works now. And then he'll let me use the products on him a little bit more too. So he's slowly but surely getting there. But I've been using more and more products as I've been a Young Living member. I'm now on ER for a year, and I absolutely love it. I'm getting into more of the products. I'm using my oils to make products. I love it. I don't really have like a awesome story of why I started using it, but ever since I've been using it, I've seen improvements. And I mean, we're all pretty healthy here. We don't generally take medicine a lot, but as I'm learning more about medicine, not against it, I just feel like there's a lot of adverse effects to, maybe more adverse effects than benefits to medicine a lot of the times. So I'm a lot happier with alternatives, healthier alternatives. And if medicine is needed, then we'll go to it, but oils are first. That's about it.
Thank you, Alyssa. Yeah, so I got to meet her little one too a while back. He's adorable. But she mentioned using the Copaiba. People pronounce it all different, so it's a weird word no matter how you pronounce it. I did hear Gary Young actually pronounce it before at convention, and so I just went with his pronunciation. I figured, why not? So it's Copaiba, Copaiba, and it's a tree. It is a pretty painstaking process to make Copaiba oil. It's not a super expensive oil, but it's not one of the cheaper ones. You can get the blend RC for $10, lemons $11, cedarwood's $11. You can get a bottle of lime for $6. But some oils are a little bit more it's a little bit more involved to produce the oil, or the plant material maybe is in short supply, or you have to wait to, like Palo Santo, you get, it's the dead tree. The oil has to go to the heartwood. It has to be laying there dead for 7 years before you can get all the oil out of the tree. So it's a little bit more expensive. Sandalwood, kind of the same situation. Copaiba, though, is an oil. If you look at that, just for those of you that are a little bit more nerdy like me, maybe, Copaiba has the main constituent of beta-caryophyllene. So if you look up beta-caryophyllene, it is a pretty powerful chemical constituent that is in some essential oils. Beta-caryophyllene is also an active chemical constituent in cannabidiol, CBD oil. So this is actually a constituent that works on the endocannabinoid system in the body, which you have these receptors throughout your body. In certain systems and organs, you'll have more of these receptors than in others. But beta-caryophyllene works on the endocannabinoid system. It is highly anti-inflammatory. So that's why it works so great for babies who are teething. That's why it works so great for people with pain and inflammation. Yes, Alyssa Sanchez is showing she's got the baby and the Copaiba. She's like, we're using it right now. It's a life. Look at her smiling. She's so cute. But yeah, beta-caryophyllene is a pretty powerful chemical. And for some people, just depends on your body. We're all different, right? Different things affect us differently. For some people, Copaiba works a lot better than CBD oil for pain and inflammation. It just depends on the person, and it depends on the issue. So if we're talking like anxiety, maybe CBD oil is better for you. But that chemical constituent in Copaiba, beta-caryophyllene, is highly anti-inflammatory and works on the endocannabinoid system in the body. So just wanted to point that out. It's super, super powerful as an essential oil, but it's not a hot oil. It's not going to overexcite the central nervous system. And so it is totally mild and fine for babies and infants. So Alyssa just showed you guys the baby and pointed to her mouth. She's teething right now. She's got the Copaiba in her hand. This is an oil that is completely safe to use for babies, but is extremely effective for pain and inflammation. Extremely. So Copaiba is a pretty powerful oil. That's a good one. So I'm glad that Alyssa mentioned that one. Okay, so Danielle Terrell is another great friend of mine. I love Danielle dearly. Somebody else that I would not know ever would have met Danielle in a million years, I don't think, if it weren't for Young Living. She is in North Dakota. Danielle got enrolled so my best friend worked in the office at a construction company. I like stories. I don't know if y'all like stories or not. I just like stories, and everybody's connected, right? So my best friend worked a long time ago in a construction company office, and the, I don't know, regional manager, or I don't know, somebody high up in the office for this construction company who worked out of the home office in Oklahoma was visiting here in Texas, and her and my best friend were talking, and my friend had a diffuser in her office. So they started talking about oils. Well, my friend helped her get started with Young Living. That person just happens to be Danielle's sister. And so Danielle, I think at the time you were in Virginia, right?
Yep.
They're an Air Force family. So I'll let Danielle tell you guys the rest of that.
Yep. So I'm Danielle. Good evening. And I live in North Dakota. My husband just retired from the Air Force not quite a year ago. So we left Virginia and now we're stationed, or we were stationed. We just live here now. We're normal civilian people now. But we live in North Dakota in Minot, and we're just about 45 miles south of the Canadian border. But so my story is a little bit different than I think a lot of people's. Everybody talks about they started with their kids and stuff like that, and I think that's wonderful. Mine's a little bit different. I started for me. I have 2 autoimmune issues that I deal with. One is a thyroid issue, and then my other one is ulcerative colitis, which is gastrointestinal. It's inflammation in your large intestine. I've had those issues. It started with my pregnancies. Super weird. I think my body just likes to do funny things when I get pregnant, and that's just kind of how it happened for me. But I was at a point, like Amanda said, my sister worked with Nedra, and she started with Young Living. I just happened to be, I think, in Colorado at one point, and my sister was using the oils, and she was talking about how you have to get them and try them and stuff like that. And I just kind of, I think, blew her off, honestly. Like, yeah, okay. And then Nedra contacted me and gave me some information and stuff. And it wasn't really even, I think it was about a few months after that I had started learning and figuring out that a lot of our cleaning products have chemicals and different things in them that are just really bad for your hormonal system. They're not good for your endocrine system. And so Young Living happens to have a Thieves Starter Kit. It was on sale, and that's how I started. I didn't start with the oils. I started with the Thieves Starter Kit, and I literally threw out every cleaner in my house and just switched everything over at that one time. I was at a point with my health that I was just fed up. I was having flare-ups quite a bit with my digestive system. I was kind of like what Ashley had talked about. I would have to go on steroids. I hated the way they made me feel. My medicine was constantly changing. My body likes to do funny things with medicine. I build up antibodies against it, and then it just quits working. And so then I have to switch to something else. And I had gotten to a point where I was just kind of fed up with all of that. And so I was just trying to find anything and everything to help. And I'm the type of person that if you tell me something works, I'm going to try it. I'm all in. I'm head first, and I'll figure out the rest later. And my husband was like, whoa, what the heck are you doing? And I just finally looked at him and I told him, I said, you don't get it. Like you don't have these issues. You don't feel like crap a lot of the times. You haven't been dealing with your 18-month-old and laying in bed, not able to get up because you feel so terrible. So please just give me some time. So that's really kind of my why. And it has just, obviously it's kind of snowballed from there. So it's become kind of our family's why. It's our family's way of supporting my youngest daughter, who has, or had, I think it's gotten better. She's gotten older, but some anxiety issues. She used to not be able to eat for weeks because she was so nervous about school and different changes that were going on with school. But a little bottle of Peace and Calming can calm her down and get her back to feeling completely normal and be able to function to where she can go back to school. Because there was a period of time, there was a little segment of time where she was in school in 4th grade, and they had switched teachers in the middle of the year. Her teacher moved. She got a new teacher, and she was literally throwing up for days. And I do believe that it started out as kind of a stomach bug thing, but I think it kind of snowballed into what people might say is kind of like not an attack, but just having terrible, terrible anxiety over having to go back to school to a new teacher. And within, after I finally realized what was going on, I just thought, you know what the heck, I'm going to try it. And I put some of it on her. And within minutes, she's feeling better. She's able to eat. She's running around the house, and she hasn't done that in 5 days. We use the oils to help support my middle daughter who has eczema. She has seasonal allergies. She has asthma. And, unfortunately, we are not at a point where we cannot use medications. I wish we could. But I also feel like we're kind of a good example of a balancing act. We use them because we do need them. But we also use them to support our bodies in a healthy way. So that way these issues don't spiral and get out of control. My middle, like I said, she has eczema. And when she has flare-ups, she gets her little flare-ups in the inside of her elbows is typically where it really happens with her. And like what Ashley said, we reach for the tea tree, the frankincense, and the lavender. And that is always our first route with everything that we deal with. When she's having issues with her breathing because the allergies, the seasonal stuff is kicking in really high up here, we go for the lavender and the RC and the Raven, and we've been diffusing that stuff like crazy. I will apply it over her lungs just to give her some relief, because I really do feel like it just calms everything down. Like, there was one night before she was going to be a freshman in high school. She's going to be a senior this next year, but it was the night before volleyball tryouts of her freshman year. She's nervous as heck, and she's having a flare up with her breathing. And at the time, she wasn't even diagnosed with asthma. And I put some lavender over her lungs that night, and I prayed over her, and I was just like, please just let this calm down enough for her just to be able to feel somewhat normal tomorrow, to be able to go do volleyball. And she did. She woke up. She wasn't fantastic, but she was 100% better than she was the night before. We talk about, once you start switching things out, and you don't even realize that these oils and just a different way of life are having an effect on you until you go back to your old way. So my oldest left for college she just finished her second year. So in her freshman year, I had switched out laundry stuff long time ago, and she had gone home. She goes to school in Oklahoma. So she had gone home. I call home like our hometown, still home, but she had gone to visit my mother-in-law over the weekend. And my mother-in-law was so nice and did her laundry for her. And, I don't know what she used, but Riley went home and put on some of her clothes, and she broke out into a full-blown rash, and she was itching terrible. And it was just really the laundry detergent, so she had to rewash all of her stuff. She lathered herself up in some awesome lavender and some frankincense, and she was good to go. But, it's like I said, I started for me, but it has just spiraled into a whole family thing. And I could go on and on and on too, but we were visiting my mom in Oklahoma City. I can't remember. I don't think it was last summer, but the summer before. And we were at the mall, and we were shopping, and the girls were getting some school clothes, and I hadn't bought anything for myself. And my mom was like, Danielle, get yourself something. You never buy yourself anything. And I looked at her and I said, actually, I do buy myself something. I buy myself a nice little box every single month, and it's my oils. That is what I do for me every month. And yes, it is for my family as well, but that is something that I have chosen to do for myself. And I do believe that because of the changes that I have made with sometimes my diet, I've got to get better about that. That's been really bad lately. But the changes that I've made as far as in ways I support my body for my thyroid, for my ulcerative colitis. I take certain supplements every day. I drink my Ningxia every day. I use my Digest to help support my digestive system. I use Copaiba because it's highly anti-inflammatory. That has worked really, really well for me. I feel like implementing those things has helped me stay stable, I guess, if you will, and things haven't progressed and gotten worse, and I haven't ended up in the hospital again. So, like I said, it's a balance for me. And what started out for me has become a normal thing in my house. We reach for the oils and the supplements and stuff before we'll try anything else. So that's my story.
That's a great story. I love it. So Danielle was talking about, I've jotted something down really quick. She was talking about ulcerative colitis and having different digestive issues and things like that. And I know a lot of people get started with oils or address digestive issues. And so that is actually one of our other big testimonies. I got into using oils because of Colt with his eczema and asthma, but Gracie, from the time she's my 16-year-old, from the time she was an infant, she always had digestive issues. She would scream all night long. That kid would scream with colic. She couldn't go to the bathroom, constantly had problems. And I was 23 years old when she was a baby. I had no clue about what to do for a baby other than just constantly hold her and drive around at 2 o'clock in the morning to try to get her to go back to sleep and bounce her all night long, love her, feed her, change her, but it was her stomach, and never could find anything wrong at the doctor, but so she always had digestive problems. She was my baby that had digestive problems. She wasn't ever really sick, but always with the tummy trouble. So when we started using oils, I had been using oils for, I don't know, probably a couple of years. When she was 11, she started screaming. One afternoon, she was in a massive amount of pain. She was grabbing her side. And so I was like, holy crap, her appendix is going to burst. So we went to the emergency room because she screamed in pain like I had never heard her scream before. And I wasn't playing around with that. We were already using oils at the time. But if you've got something like that, like, let me just pause and say common sense. If you have no idea what's going on, go find out what's going on. And so we went to the ER. They did an x-ray. She was severely impacted, severely. And what's interesting is a couple of people have mentioned anxiety. A couple of people have mentioned digestive issues. And if you didn't know, the gut and the brain are very, very closely related. Everything in your body, every system in your body is related to every other system. And a lot of you guys are medically minded and you know this, but there is a nerve directly physically connecting your gut to your brain. It's called the vagus nerve. I made a joke one time that what happens in the vagus doesn't stay in the vagus. It's really corny, but I still laugh because it's funny. Ashley thinks it's funny. What happens in the vagus doesn't stay in the vagus. It will go to your brain. So in the gut, you're producing neurotransmitters. These are messengers. These are chemical messengers. Your brain and your gut are so closely related. So if you have anxiety, you are most likely going to have some sort of stomach pain or digestive issues. If you've got a digestive condition, obviously any condition you have makes you anxious and gives you different feelings, but your feelings are very closely related to your physical body. So not only are your gut and your brain physically connected, they are also chemically connected through neurotransmitters. And so your emotions affect your gut affects your emotions. And so I have a friend, she's not on here tonight, but she's a pretty close friend who has some she would call it debilitating anxiety. I think she handles it very well because I know a lot of people who suffer with anxiety, literally anxiety, y'all, like for real anxiety. Like, I'm not leaving my house today anxiety, right? And so this close friend has major anxiety issues. Her top thing for her anxiety is Digest. So the stinky oil blend that is for your digestive system. if you're constipated, if you have diarrhea, if you've got a stomach bug, if you've got parasites, like all of the digestive stuff. That oil is widely used. People that have been using oils a long time know that that oil is very helpful for that. So I just wanted to mention that digestive issues, absolutely digest. But if you have anxiety, if that makes sense to you, you might want to try digest. Digest is also good to add to your laundry if your husband works with diesel and other chemicals, because it breaks things down. Think about it going into the digestive tract, into your intestines, and it actually breaking things down to get rid of them. That kind of enzymatic action that digest has, if you put that in your laundry with stinky clothes, bacteria, mold, fungus, pesticides on your fruits and vegetables, digest breaks those things down. So anytime you're thinking that you want to break something down, either in your laundry or on your food or in your body, digest is a really good oil for that. So I wanted to mention the vagus nerve and Gracie being impacted. When we took her to the ER and they did the x-ray, went, under the care of the doctor, we go to the pharmacy, we buy the gamut. Like, we buy all the things. If this doesn't work, do this. If this doesn't work, do this. So the mag citrate, all of the things, we were doing all the things. She was puking everything up. She was not passing anything, nothing. We went as far as enema, nothing. So I call my friend and I'm crying and I'm like, okay, she's 11. The ER doctor was maybe 30 years old, cute ER doctor, and she's an 11-year-old girl, and we're talking about poop, and she's like, Mom, no. So I'm like, if we can't calm you down and get you to go to the bathroom, we have to go back to the hospital, because this has to go. This has to come out. And so I called my friend, and at this point, I'm good at being calm to keep other people calm, but I'll leave the room to freak out for a minute and then come back like, okay, here's what we're going to do. So I had to leave the room to freak out. So I called my friend and I'm like, look, we went to the ER. This is what the deal is. Is there anything that I can do to help her? I didn't call my RN friends. I called my weirdo oil friend and I'm like, we saw the ER doctor. Like, nothing's helping. No more medicine. None of it's working. And so she asked me if I had digest. At the time, digest didn't come in the starter kit and I was pretty new to oils. So she brought me some digest. I kid you not. I took a drop of digest. I rubbed it clockwise on her tummy. Mind you, she is on the floor, doubled over in pain. Her entire abdomen is distended and as hard as a rock. And she would not let me touch her without screaming. So I'm barely touching her. I'm barely making contact with her skin. She's in so much pain, to put the digest on her belly. And I'm thinking, no way in hell this is going to do anything. This is not... She is impacted with poop. There is no way this is going to help her. And so I'm rubbing it on her tummy. And I thought, if I could just get her to relax, maybe something will happen, because we did all the other stuff. Maybe we can do something again. Just get her to relax. So I'm rubbing it on her tummy clockwise. And again, I'll say this because we have people on here that weren't on last time when I told this story. Why clockwise? That sounds like hooey. That sounds like some weirdo voodoo snake oil stuff. Why are you doing clockwise? Well, I don't know if this is reverse or not. I don't know how the video does it, but your intestines run up, across, and down. So if you are looking at someone's abdomen on their right side of their body, the intestines go up, and then the transverse colon runs across, and then the descending colon goes down. And that's clockwise. That's the way peristalsis moves. That's the way waste moves through the body. And so you're helping to stimulate that movement. Okay. So you're working with the body is what you're doing, because that's the direction of flow. That's the direction of the movement. And so I just clockwise rubbed very lightly. And someone else said something about within a matter of seconds earlier, literally within a matter of seconds, she relaxed and she was able to take deeper breaths, which obviously physiologically calmed her down a little bit more to get some more oxygen to her brain. She's not panicking so much. She's breathing. So she calmed down. She slowed down her breathing. Her muscles relaxed and she straightened out, completely stopped crying. So then I started applying a little bit more pressure. And then I started to actually massage. So as a couple of minutes go by, she lets me start pressing. So I'm actually pushing along up the ascending colon, across, transverse, and down descending. And so as I'm doing that, literally I feel it breaking underneath my fingers. I could feel it start to break. And then I heard gurgling. And then she jumped up and she said, I got to go to the bathroom. So she goes to the bathroom. This happens in less than 5 minutes of me putting it on her stomach. Not a peep. And of course, I said, don't flush it. I need to see how much. I need to see what it looks like. Is there, not to gross you guys out, but as a mom, like I need to know, like, how much came out. What? Because I saw the X-ray. Like, that was a lot. Like, a lot. And so, of course, 11-year-old girl, I forgot, I flushed. You're not looking at my poop. But anyway, it was really quick. And that I always tell that because it's not something that a lot of people are comfortable talking about or even listening to sometimes. But the fact is, all of us poop. All of us get constipated. We all get diarrhea. We all get stomach bugs. People have major digestive problems that they can't even leave their house. And so if me telling a disgusting story helps somebody naturally be able to support their body to where they can use something and leave their house when before they wouldn't, then I'm going to keep telling that one. That's a really good one to me. So, okay. Thank you, Danielle. That was really good. And then I talked for another however long that was. Okay. So Tanya is in California. My friend Tanya, she is going to.
Hey, y'all. Okay. So I've been with Young Living now for 9 months as a customer, but my background in Young Living started a couple years ago. I worked for a company that made the labels for Young Living. And so I always had been aware of them and was able to read ingredients and kind of look at the product. I would, because I had all things Young Living all over my desk all the time, with the exception of oils. I had 0 oils for all the stress I needed the stress away for. But what's kind of started me into it was my grandson has major food allergies as well as asthma. And I started thinking that I needed to look for more natural ways to use products when I'm around him, because I wouldn't want something I use to trigger him. So I kind of looked at the makeup first, not through Young Living, but another company, and kind of dabbled in that. And then his asthma kept getting worse and worse and worse. And during all this time, I had met another Rachel Cox, that's in this group in Texas at a concert. And I knew she used Young Living oils. So I kind of talked back and forth with her and started thinking about things. And then when I finally retired from my job, I jumped in. And it's one of the best things I've done. And I wish I had jumped in a whole lot sooner. I'm still working with my grandson, what to use, what works best for him. We're still experimenting for him and trying to get my daughter Tiffany, his mom, on board with a more natural approach. She's, I think, kind of like everybody else, scared. She doesn't want to do something that she's not familiar with. And so I'm hoping at one point we can get her to an actual in-person class, because I think that will matter and will help her a little more. But since then, I've transitioned to, for me, it's the cleaning products. I like using those more. They smell better. They're all natural. I don't have to worry about cleaning my house with all my grandkids running around, touching things, feeling things, doing anything like that. And that makes me a lot more comfortable for them. But you guys were talking about Digis, and that so far is hands down the nastiest stuff I've ever used. It smells awful. I burp it up constantly and it's horrible, but I don't care. It works. I've had probably IBS-D for over 10 plus years. It's caused huge amounts of issues for me being able to go anywhere. You walk into a store, it's like, okay, where's the bathroom and how far away is it? So I've started using that, and then Amanda suggested Life 9, which is the probiotic. And I got that last month. I ordered it in my ER and I got it, and I've started using that as well. And I'll tell you, I haven't had a whole lot of flare-ups lately, and it's been so wonderful to not have that. But even if I do, I think I had one a couple days ago, and I don't know if I was anxious about something, because definitely that causes flare-ups. And I take one little gel cap of Digize, and I mixed a little peppermint in it as well to help offset some of that taste. But I rubbed it on my stomach, and I kid you not, probably within a minute, my stomach stopped rebelling against me. And it was like a hallelujah moment. I was like ready to do a happy dance. So it's like little by little, these classes, and I've ordered Copaiba now. So I'm going to add that in there to see what else that can do, because I might get my life back now, which is huge for me. And all the help with these classes and being able to talk to Amanda and hearing your stories and all of these things, I've been adding bits and pieces to my kits to help with other things, headaches. I grab the peppermint now. In fact, I carry peppermint and Digize in my purse now. Lavender for sleep, cedarwood, little things I'm learning, and it's huge for me. My husband's not quite on board yet. We're working on it. But between, myself and my other daughter, who's going to come up after me, eventually he might get there. We'll see. But that's kind of my story, how I got started. But it's been a good journey for me to transfer over and say, okay, now this is helping me. So, it's not a bad thing. It's a very good thing. So my daughter, Alyssa, kind of was already using oils. She's going to tell you her story and her transition over. But so she was a little bit of a resource for me as well, asking her what she knew. And so I'm going to let her step in and talk about what her experience has been now that she's kind of stepped into Young Living. So Alyssa, it's all you. Where is Alyssa?
Oh, there we go. Okay. No, I couldn't figure out how to unmute it. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Alyssa, we can't hear you. Can you guys hear me? Okay, that's weird. Oh no. She can't hear me either.
Hold on, let me text her.
Okay. We can't hear you.
Oh, he hit buttons. I'm sorry.
Oh, there you are. Okay. All right. Sorry.
My 3-year-old's hitting every single button. We just, kids. Sorry. So he was having issues going potty. So he was like 1, and, we're using Digestin and rubbing it clockwise on his tummy. And we do it every night. So we added a couple oils, lavender, one for breathing, one for teething. Because of course he was 1 at the time. So yay for teeth. So I did that as a regular. I had 4 oils. That was it. Didn't use anything else. And then, years down the line, my mom comes at me with Young Living. I'm like, okay, I really don't want to switch. I'm kind of comfortable with where I'm at. I know what I'm doing. And then she introduced cleaning products to me. And I think that kind of helped make that transition a little easier, just because I have 4. I have a 9-year-old, I have a 3-year-old, I have a 17-month-old and a 2-month-old. 17-month and 2-month were not supposed to happen that way. Thank you, Marina, for failing me in that aspect. But I've been blessed with 4 children, and I love all of them very, very much. But it does make it difficult with having to clean up constantly in the house. So I switched over to the Thieves and immediately fell in love with it because 1, it smelled fantastic. 2, I went from cleaning my counter to cleaning my stove to cleaning my microwave to cleaning God knows what else. And it worked on everything. And it blew my mind. And I was like, okay, I need more of this stuff. And I need more of it right now because I'm going to go through it really quick because I use it on my floor as well around all the kids' toys. And immediately freaked out when my 17-month-old picked up a toy and put it in her mouth. And I was like, oh my God, is that going to hurt her? And then realized it's not going to hurt her. So I think that kind of helped ease my mind. What really made me, I guess, jump into purchasing a starter kit, though, was the 17-month-old. She had started itching and itching and itching, and it was horrible. So I had messaged my mom. I had messaged Amanda and asked, because Amanda had said that she had used it for eczema for one of her kids. And so I asked her, I was like, what is it that you use? Please tell me the oils that you use. And I mixed them. I put them on her, and immediate relief. To the point that she literally, if she sees me with oils, tries to put it on herself. She was going through my lovely box of oils that I hid behind me, and she found them and was freaking out and wanted to play with them. So I think that made a difference for her. I put those same oils in the Young Living shampoo or the bath wash that we use for her. And that makes a difference because we figured out it's not eczema that she has. She is literally allergic, like me, to the outdoors. Anything outdoors, we are allergic to. So I can walk outside and touch the grass and I'm immediately itchy. It's the same thing with her, just 10 times worse. I had the picture of her skin. I was freaking out because I was just like, I don't know what to do. This is horrible. I was basically about to be in tears because my poor little girl is scratching the crap out of her skin, and I had no idea how to help her. Of course, they're not anywhere accessible at the moment. But her skin is completely clear. Let me see. Come here. Let me see baby back. But her back is completely clear. I can post pictures later. But she had scratches up here and down by her butt. And she's been doing fantastic ever since we switched, and now I won't. I have added so many oils to my collection since, and I won't stop. And I appreciate my mom for introducing me to this. And, yes, Mom, it's recorded, so you can use it against me later. I appreciate her, and then I appreciate Amanda because, Amanda, I've really talked your ear off, and I've really, asked so many questions to try and figure out what else I can do for my kids. You saw earlier with the Copaiba, it's amazing. We put it on her all day, every day, and it helps with her teething. But yeah, that's my little to now big oil story of how I got started, but it's something that I will continue to grow and continue to tell other people to try and get them involved because it really just has changed my life. It's changed my kids' lives. It's changed my husband too. And not like my dad, my husband's super on board with it, but it's just something that I will forever be in debt to Amanda and to my mom for getting me onto this journey so that I can continue to help, if no one else around me, at least my family, and make them feel comfort and better with what we do every day.
That is so awesome. Thank you, Alyssa, for sharing that. And I feel the same way. Like she said, some people don't get it. Some people, refuse to try something natural, which is crazy to me because this is our original medicine. God made all the plants. They're full of chemicals, and this is what he intended us to use. There's her picture of her baby's back. That's awful. Yeah, I have pictures of Colt too, when he was broken out as well. And so I'm really happy about that for you guys. Alyssa, it's just the way that we do things now. So it's normal to us. And so I'm not surprised anymore when something comes up and we use an oil. Like Ashley loved the story I told last time about my brown recluse bite, which I think is a fantastic testimony. Go to the ER if a brown recluse bites you, okay? Don't not seek medical attention if you're bit by something poisonous. But as you guys know, I love science experiments and I like to test things out on myself. And I did that with a brown recluse bite. And so I'm pretty proud of myself. No scar, no nothing. My toe looked like it was going to rot off, but it didn't. So I've got to share those pictures. I feel like, I don't know, it's probably going to get like, censored for misinformation, but totally true story for me. But I get it, what she's saying, that's, you have these experiences and you want to share them with other people. At this point in our journey, it's not really a surprise to me anymore when something comes up and there's something natural that can help you. There's an antidote, so to speak. There's something to support what God created the body to do for itself, which is to clean itself and to heal itself, to function properly. And there are things that he gave us to support those functions. And so, yes, I'm all about the experiment, y'all. They may not be, placebo, double blind, controlled, that kind of thing, but they're real for me. And they're lots of fun. But I do love answering the questions, Alyssa. Like she said, she said something about talking my ear off. Like I seriously love to talk about this stuff with people. And so I feel like it's important to share this information with others and to help them see the benefit too. So we have one more going to tell us her story. Rachel Philman, my good friend, she is in New Braunfels, and she's going to tell you guys her story as well.
So fun fact, I did meet Amanda through Young Living, but I had never been to an oil class before. I didn't have an oily friend or knew somebody that was all into it. Okay, hold on, let me back up. So my daughter but just one night she was having a really hard time going to sleep, and it just continued on. She'd always been a really great sleeper. I never had any issue sleep training her. She took great naps. That was never an issue. So when she had a hard time going to sleep at night and staying asleep and staying asleep the whole night, it was very, very unusual for her. And I pretty much let it ride for a while because, they're kids. They can go through sleep regressions and those things happen. And I tried I didn't think too much of it at the time, but, when we had a lot going on at that time too, we had sold our house and moved into a family member's extra home. And so I had gotten pregnant with our son. And so there was a lot of things up in the air, right? There were a lot of things that were kind of changing and going on. So I kind of just took it in stride and just kept on with her normal routine, thinking it would kind of fix itself and she would kind of fall back into her normal routine. But she didn't. And it got to the point where I would have to sit down next to her in bed or lay with her and literally hold her hands, like hold her arms down, and just not forcefully, y'all. I didn't like strap my child to the bed or anything, but just kind of sit there and hold her until she could be still long enough or calm down long enough to actually like fall asleep and stay asleep. And being pregnant, I don't have to explain pregnancy tired to any of you mamas. Like, what that's like. And what it's like to have a newborn, and the newborn tired is just a whole nother level especially with having a toddler you still have to chase after. So it wasn't until our son was about a year old that I just kind of had enough. We had moved again into the home not this house, but moved into our house that we were going to be in for a few years. And so I had gone back to work, and it was just chaotic. And I really had enough. And I was like, okay, something is just not jiving here. Something's not right. And so I was to the point where I was literally Googling, those sleep consultation or those sleep companies that deal specifically with children and their sleep patterns, and looking into the consultation for that and whatnot. And in the midst of all of my Google searching, essential oils had popped up, as far as lavender and like cedarwood being a great combination for diffusing and going to sleep. So the only reason I even bought a starter kit was because it was cheaper than the consultation fee with the sleep specialist company that I was looking into. And I thought, well, what the heck, we'll try this first. I did a ton of research on different essential oil companies as far as how do they get their oils? Where do they come from? How do they grow them? How do they get to my door? All of that good stuff. And eventually I decided on Young Living because they were by far the most transparent about all of those things. And I thought, well, if they're going to be that honest and I'm not even a member of theirs, then I'm just going to roll with it. And so I bought my kit, and when it came in, I immediately set up the diffuser in her bedroom and our daughter's bedroom with lavender and cedarwood, because I had heard that those two oils in combo were great for sleep support. And so I put those in her room, and I even made the comment to my husband. I was like, man, it smells like a spa in her room. Like, it smells so good. Like, I want to go sleep in there. But she fell asleep with not much coaching from me. She fell asleep, and she actually stayed asleep the whole night. And I, honest to God, thought it was a fluke, because we had fluky nights in the past, and I thought this just has to be one of those fluky nights. Like, no big deal, right? We'll just try this again tomorrow. And the same thing happened the next night. She went to sleep, no problem, stayed in bed the whole night. And then the next night, the same thing, and so on and so on. And so I thought, okay, well, clearly there's like some truth to all of this, and it's actually like working for her. So, yeah, and then that combo is probably still one of my go-tos for them at night. We love it. But this was obviously before Lavender and Peace and Calming come in the starter kit now. They didn't whenever I joined, which was 3.5 years ago. So for my son, Peace and Calming is awesome for sleep, but for my daughter, Lavender and cedarwood is just kind of my go-to combo. But to kind of back up just a little bit, when our son was born, actually the day he was born, we found out that my mother-in-law had breast cancer. And she came home with this laundry list of things that she had to cut out of her diet, that she had to cut out of her lifestyle, basically. And one of the very first question that the nurses asked her was, what deodorant are you using? Because apparently pretty much all deodorants out there have aluminum in them. And it kind of piqued my interest. Like, okay, well, why can't we have deodorant with aluminum in it? Like, what is the big deal? It's what clogs up your pores and what jams everything up so that you don't stink, right? And you don't sweat, which is great, but what is it doing to what is the effect that it's doing to our body? And so it kind of snowballed for us from there, as far as really looking at all the chemicals and the ingredients in our personal care products. I feel like my husband and I have always been pretty good about reading labels, and as far as food goes, reading labels, cooking with fresh ingredients, and looking at the food aspect of that. But neither one of us really ever gave a second thought to what's in all of our soaps and our body washes and our shampoos and deodorant and all of those things that we use every single day. So her being diagnosed with breast cancer and having this list of things that were endocrine disruptors and hormone disruptors, which is the type of breast cancer that she had, it was hormonal. Like I said, it just kind of snowballed for us. So fast forward a year later, when I got my starter kit to help my daughter go to sleep, that's when I really started to dig into and learn about all of the power of thieves, and purification came in the starter kit, at that time, which is also another awesome oil for cleaning and purifying. And so we started switching everything out to the thieves products. Like, as much as I could get out of our house, we did. I went basically room by room. I started with all of the kids stuff, like swapping out their soaps and shampoos and body washes. And then I moved to our stuff, and obviously switched out all the cleaners in our house for the thieves cleaner. And we basically haven't looked back. It's really just kind of a peace of mind. Like Alyssa was saying, that I don't have to worry about my son grabbing the bottle of thieves cleaner and chugging it if he felt like it. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about the chemically smell in my house. Yes, it does smell amazing, but it's also like super, super effective. It amazes me every time, even though I know how powerful these oils are and how well they can work. Whenever they do, I'm still amazed every time. My husband had grease on his hands from this like sticky tar grease stuff he was working on. I don't even know what, the tractor or the truck or something, I don't know. But he comes in, he's like, hey, like, you know, do you have anything to like get this sticky stuff off of my hands? And I was like, yeah, lemon oil. And he's like, there's no way that stuff's just going to take it right off. A couple drops on his hands and just pulled it right off. So it's little things like that every time that those things happen, I'm just still amazed at how powerful they are. You know, my daughter got some bug bites on her just the other day. We were out at my parents' property in Wimberley, and she got some bug bites like on her legs. And so we put a little dab of lavender, and the itching stopped immediately, and they were not as inflamed and irritating to her. So yeah, it's just crazy to me how, not crazy, but you know what I mean? Just still shocking every time that we use an oil, and to see the power in them without having to reach for an over the counter or something, which I completely agree with all of you ladies. They have their place and they have their time, but if we can use a more natural product or use a natural product, that's what I'm going to grab for that, hands down, every time. So I think that was about it. I have a story for probably every oil that I have in my cabinet right now, not just those in the starter kit, but yeah, they're incredible. So
Thank you, Rachel.
yeah.
Appreciate it. Sorry, I totally muted myself. Sorry. I don't even have a baby in here. I just can't work Zoom. Yeah, so Rachel mentioned how she did the research on Young Living. She didn't have someone direct her or offer her an oil or say, hey, you should try this. She just started digging, and, you know, she sees oils come up for all these things and starts looking into it herself, which is also incredible, because it's pretty cool to have somebody give you something and you have an experience, and it's cool to have a testimony and then go, okay, I'm buying this. It totally works. It's a whole different thing to dig and find information out for yourself, to empower yourself with information, to then make an informed choice, not being swayed by someone else or someone trying to sell you something. And so, yeah, I had someone say, look, I know how you are. You need to read this book. And so I read the book. The book was Healing Oils of the Bible. It references scripture. And so I literally opened my Bible next to this book and referenced the scripture back and forth. And like I said last time, you know, the Bible is not a book about oils. It's not a book about sickness and, you know, things like that. The Bible is about Jesus. It's about his life. But when you read through the Bible and it talks about frankincense and myrrh and cedarwood and galbanum and spikenard and all of these different plants and plant oils, and these different formulas, like the Lord gave Moses this formula of oils before the Israelites went into the desert for 40 years. And it was this massive amount of oil with instructions on what to do with this blend of oils, which was to anoint the entire altar, all of the tools, utensils, anoint the priests. And so when you look at it, yes, there are spiritual aspects to anointing, but at the same time, if you look at the medicinal properties of myrrh, and all of the different oils that are in that formula that the Lord gave Moses. And you can look in Exodus. I'm not going to quote scripture because I don't like for people to think, oh, well, she's saying this and twisting it to make it mean this. I'm telling you that if you are a believer, to go to the Bible and read these things and then ask for discernment from God so he can show you the way that he showed me. Because I read this book, I referenced the scripture, and what God showed me through the scriptures was that he made all of these billions of different species of plants, and they all, when you cut them open, have different levels of all these different chemical constituents in them. They're God made. They're not created in a lab. They're not compounded in a pharmacy. They're in these plants that he created. Why are there so many different kinds of plants? Why do we have so many different species of trees and flowers and weeds and bushes and shrubs and all of these different things? And if you cut them open, all of these chemicals have these medicinal properties. And when you combine them with other chemicals, it takes on a whole different property. And some oils are even adaptogens, meaning like lavender, you can use it. And there's so many different benefits you can get from a drop of lavender oil because it has up to 200 different chemicals in it, which means I can use lavender. Ashley can use lavender. Alyssa, Rachel, Danielle, we can all use lavender at the same time for completely different things, for 5 different things, and it help all 5 of us. And why is that? Because it's an adaptogen, because it goes where there's a need, because the body can recognize these chemical constituents and apply it where they are needed and cause an effect. So when you go and you find this information out for yourself and you dig, and you know, whether or not you open the Bible and read that, or you read Healing Oils of the Bible, or you just dig into, okay, let me look at Young Living as a company. Because what I did was, once I understood that oils were probably my answer, then I thought, okay, well, where am I going to get them from? Because I've been ordering all these creams and all these lotions, and I have all these medications, and I don't know really where any of them are sourced. I don't know how many different companies touch the product, how many different things are added or taken away from it. You know, what is the heart behind the company making this product or this oil? So when it comes right down to it, I can spend the money on these oils and put them on Colt's skin or use them in a diffuser for his breathing, and it cause a negative reaction. I can use something on his skin and it burn and not help him and make him worse, which is what everything else that I had done for him. Either they just stopped working, like the steroid creams, and started breaking down his skin, or they didn't work at all, or they caused more harm than good. And so that was why I started digging into Young Living. I thought, okay, let me look and see what this company is about. Well, you're directed to seed to seal, which is, we plant the seed, we cultivate the plants, we harvest the plant material, we distill the oil, and we bottle it. There's nothing added, there's nothing taken away. Everything is 100% organic. And when you look at labeling laws in this country, they're like everything else in this country. It's all sketchy and shady, and it's all hearsay. Everything's a theory. You have to actually put your hands on the company. You have to actually ask the questions. If you want transparency and quality and integrity, you have to actually look for it, because anybody can say they're the best in the world. Anybody can say our product is better than this company, or we have the purest, or we have the best, or ours is organic and theirs isn't labeled organic, or ours are 100% natural. Did you know that for something to be labeled natural, let's just use the word natural, because you would think above all else, natural means not synthetic, completely pure, 100%, right? That's what natural means. That's what it means to me. But that's not what natural means when a product is labeled natural. If you start out with something natural, something grows from the ground, you can label it natural. I can take my box of food, I can take my oil, I can take my supplement, my cleaning product, and I can put 100% natural, because it started from a plant. Now, what I do with the plant, what I add to the bottle, what I take away from the chemicals and from the plant material, doesn't matter. I can still call it natural. And so to me, that was super important. My husband worked for a company called Oil Tankin for about 20 years, who treated us like family. They took care of their people. And when that company got bought out by Enterprise Products, I thought, okay, we have been super spoiled, and we will never again in life experience a company like this, because people are shady. The bottom dollar is it. Like, it's all about profit. It's all about, what can I get? How can I screw somebody to make money? Like, that is literally how most companies operate. Most companies, like, I don't feel like that's an opinion. I feel like most companies could care less about you or your kids or your health. They just want you to buy their products. Now, not to say that it's all companies, but I thought there's no way we're going to get lucky and ever have any kind of experience like we've had with him working for that company. And I've been with Young Living for a little over 6 years now. And when I say they blow Oil Tankin out of the water, they blow them out of the water. Like, started as a mom and pop operation with Gary Young, like making distillers, like literally designing them himself, traveling to France, traveling to Oman, building relationships with people who were smart, that knew things that he didn't know, and teaching himself things, researching. He was a researcher. He was a scientist. He's a naturopathic doctor. And so he learned these things. And so when you get to the heart behind this company and how it was started, it matters. Like, it makes a difference to me, versus okay, everybody's jumping on the essential oil bandwagon. Let's start an essential oil company. We're going to make millions of dollars. That's what most companies do. Most companies. Where are they getting their oil? So there's a post in our event page on the different grades of oil. There's 4 different grades. Sometimes all you're doing is using plant water, literally leftover water from the distillation process. Sometimes you're using a synthetic chemical concoction made in a lab. They isolate some scent chemicals. Maybe it smells like lavender, but it's not real lavender. It has no therapeutic value. I wouldn't rub it on my baby. I wouldn't use it even for fragrancing a room, honestly, if it's going to be synthetic fragrances, because those disrupt our hormones, which we now know. So it matters for your health. If you're wanting to use oils therapeutically, if you're wanting to live more closely to what God intended for us, that was my intention behind it. That was my heart behind using oils. And when you look at who Young Living is as a company, the way they operate, the Young Living Foundation and what it does all over the world, we don't just go rape the land in Oman and take all the frankincense trees, right? We don't go and buy oil from a broker or synthetically create something in a lab. We own land and partner with organic farmers all over the world. We've built relationships with people. I say we, like I did this, but that's what it feels like when you're a part of a company like that. You know, Gary did this work. He laid the groundwork and he passed that on to every employee that worked closely with him, to his family, to his sons, and they're carrying that on. And we get to carry that on. We get to tell people how important this is. And so when you have those relationships, when you have the ability to grow your own plant material, and it's done in a way that doesn't use pesticides, doesn't use any kind of insecticides, all the weeding is done by hand, that's an expensive process. But at the same time, you get to put people to work. We have thousands and thousands of employees all over the world with Young Living. It's an American-owned company, if that's important to you, obviously American-owned. But we do source plant materials from all over the world. And it's important where your products come from and the quality, especially if you are putting something on your skin, you're putting something on your baby's skin, or you're ingesting something. And especially if you want to use it for therapeutic reasons, you can't be using some lavender, you know, some fake lavender. Fun fact, there is 100 times more lavender sold in the world than is actually created, like that actually exists, which sounds weird. Like, what does that mean? It means that most of the lavender sold is synthetic. It's not even from a lavender plant. It's created. It's an isolated scent chemical made in a lab, and they call it lavender.
Yeah. Amanda.
So, yeah.
I was going to actually say, because with my background with, you know, the labels and stuff, my desk, actually, I ended up being the oil lady of the office. I was given any new oil label accounts that came through, and I can absolutely 100% tell you between labels which companies were natural, which ones were authentic, which ones weren't, which ones I would never ever buy. If they tell me they were selling them in Walmart, not a chance in hell am I going to buy those. So yeah, I totally did the research that way as well before I stepped in.
That's really cool. Thank you for that. Yeah. So Tanya, working for the company that created our labels, it's just a really cool story. Like, she got a total, you know, view of Young Living from a different side that you never get. And if some of the information that she said, I was like, man, I never even thought about that, you know. But that's true. You know, she sees the labeling, and they created labels for other people too. And but that's interesting. I think it really matters, the quality and integrity. And so that's the reason that I started with Young Living. Because like I said in the beginning, I knew nothing about oils. I thought it was a joke. But it was important to me, the quality of what I was using on Colt skin. And so that was the reason that we got with Young Living. But the Seed to Seal information, you can find that at seedtoseal.com. And you can watch a little video, a clip that's actually posted on our event page on the Seed to Seal about integrity. It's like a 6-minute video clip of Jared Turner, who is the current Chief Operating Officer for Young Living, and he explains the Seed to Seal process, which is really cool. I know Danielle has been, who else on here? No, Rachel hasn't been yet. We're going to go this year. Got canceled this year. So Danielle and I have been to the farm in Mona, Utah. This is where Young Living is headquartered, is in Salt Lake City, Utah. and for our international convention, and we've both been to the farm, and that is the coolest thing, to be able to participate in the process and see it up close. If you are interested in gardening or farming or just life in general, going to the farm for Young Living is a really cool experience. And they're always doing experiments out there too, which is fun, Ashley. Lots of fun experiments. Right now they have sheep out there weeding, helping to weed the lavender fields and help fertilize as well. But yeah, I can't wait to see the sheep in person soon. And it's really cool to be there in person and to get to participate in, you get to plant, you can go on service trips and harvest. You can go to Idaho. You can go to the Highland Flats farm. I'm trying to think all of the up north. We have in British Columbia, we have the Black Spruce Farm, where you can see the northern lights, and you can go up there and it's freezing cold up in Canada, and you can participate in the harvesting in the winter. So it's really cool. You get to participate in all that with Young Living. You can call and ask, customer service reps any question, and they can answer the questions. If you call other oil companies and say, where does your lavender come from? They're not going to tell you it comes from such and such farm in this state in the United. They're not going to tell you that, because odds are it doesn't. I'm not saying there aren't any companies that don't have access to farms where their oils come from, but are they a part of the process? Is there oversight? Is there transparency and integrity and testing behind what they're making? So again, like everybody else said, I could talk all night long about quality integrity. I could talk about oils all night. I could talk about the chemicals and the science, which would be fun. If you guys ever want to do that, we'll have a slumber party here on Zoom, I guess, and talk about oils all night and fun experiments. And I'll show you my brown recluse bite pictures. So anyway, that was just like a handful of testimonies from several of us. There's a lot more. I know these girls have a lot more. I do too. So if you have questions about that kind of stuff or about ordering, there are several different starter kits, several different ways to get started with Young Living. If you don't already have a membership, your membership includes 24% off pricing for life. You're not required to do anything. Again, totally transparent, and you're in control of it. You order when you want, how much you want, whenever you want. You don't have to inventory things. You don't have to sell anything. I've never sold a bottle of oil in my life, literally. Like, if I have something and someone needs it, I have so much, I just, here, you can have it. But if you want to sell oils, you can sell oils. If you want to build a Young Living business, you can build a business. Several of us on here are business builders and collect a commission check from Young Living. They don't pay marketers. They pay their members to market their products. And so we do teach classes. We do help people to enroll, and that's always an option. You can do that, but it's never required. So to have a membership with Young Living, you get to use your account for whatever you want to use it for. You order yourself, you order for your friends and family, you help other people get started. You can build a business if you want to. If you want to sell oils out of your trunk, whatever. If you got a boutique, you can do that. I don't do that, but it's totally up to you, and you're in control of it. So you get the 24% off pricing for life. You have the option to participate in Essential Rewards, which is the loyalty program. So you can budget out your oils every month. The minimum on that is $50 a month, but you can order as much as you want. You get points back on your orders. Then you use those points for free oils and products. You get exclusive promotions on Essential Rewards. So they throw free stuff in your box when you qualify. Discounted shipping rates, lots of options, zero requirements of you. You have to opt into that. You can start it and stop it at any time, but it's a great way to budget out what you're switching out. Like if you're going to use, like for instance, me, the cleaner, the oral products, the laundry products, the dish products. Obviously I use a lot of oils, right? I get bit by spiders. Apparently I got to have oils. I got to have basil oil. It's basil. It's basil. If you get bit by a spider, I'm just telling you. Or you can go to the ER, whatever. But I use all of these products. We use their bath products, the cleaning products, all the things, right? We diffuse constantly. I'm covered with oils. I'm not super crunchy, I promise. I just use oils for everything. I'm not one of those. I don't make kombucha in the kitchen. I don't know if you guys make kombucha or not. I'll drink it. I mean, I don't have to have it, but I don't, I'm not cooking a SCOBY in the kitchen to make my kombucha. It's late, y'all. I'm just being weird now. But I use a lot of oils. So Essential Rewards makes sense for me because I get points back, and I'm constantly, these are consumable products. These are things that largely I would be buying from Target or Walmart that I buy from Young Living. And I totally get most of this stuff for free now because I earn so many points. So anyway, there's a lot of ways to get started, lots of starter kit options. All of those things are posted in the event page. If you have a question about ordering or need help, what do I order? How should I start? Any of these ladies can help you. I can help you. Just let us know if you need help, and we'll get you added to our private members group where you can read more fun testimonies and ask all the questions. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful to you, and we'll do more things like this in the future. And just let us know if you have any questions, and I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you for joining us. Bye.